Imagine yourself standing in front of a giant, ancient castle. The stone walls are very thick and very tall, and the big golden gates are locked tight. You can see guards in bright red coats and tall, furry hats standing perfectly still. Everyone thinks that life inside a castle is just like a fairy tale. We imagine people wearing sparkly crowns, eating fancy food on gold plates, and dancing at big parties every single night. But what if the fairy tale is not as happy as it looks? What if there are big secrets hiding behind those heavy velvet curtains? Sometimes, even a king can have a very bad day. Sometimes, the people who are supposed to be the strongest are actually feeling very sad or very angry. Lately, something very strange has been happening. The cameras that follow the royal family captured something that nobody expected to see. They saw the king looking like he was at a breaking point. People all over the world are starting to whisper and ask questions. They want to know why the king was crying and if he is about to quit his very important job. Today, we are going to look deep inside the palace walls to find out the truth. We are going to talk about a father and a son who might be having a big disagreement. This is a story about duty, about family, and about what happens when a long-held dream starts to feel like a very heavy burden. Get ready, because we are going on a journey to find out what is really going on with King Charles and Prince William. Even though we see Prince William in public where he is laughing with little children and shaking hands with people, some reports say he has been very angry lately. There are rumors that he and his father, King Charles, are not getting along very well at all. People are calling it a rift, which is just a fancy word for a big fight or a split between two people. In fact, William did not even show up to a very important event recently. For a long, long time, the monarchy has been a symbol of power. They always look very calm and they never show their feelings to the public, but nothing could prepare the world for what happened live on television. King Charles suddenly broke down and started to cry during a national broadcast. The people watching at home were completely stunned. They couldn't believe their eyes. Soon, whispers started to spread that the king might be planning to resign, which means he would give up his job as king. Was it because he felt too much pressure? Was it because someone he trusted betrayed him? Or is there something even deeper going on inside the palace? As everyone in the country felt confused, one big question was heard everywhere. What truly pushed the king to such a sad and shocking breaking point? And do you really think that King Charles quitting his job would be better for the royal family? Let us know what you think in the comments section below. We want to hear your ideas. To help us make more videos and show you the real world, please hit the subscribe button so more people can find out about this story. The story of King Charles III is a story about a man who had to wait a very, very long time. In fact, he stands in history as the man who waited longer than any other person to wear the British crown. His journey to the throne was not just long, it was truly extraordinary. For 70 years and 214 days, he lived his life just getting ready for his big role. He carried the weight of everyone's expectations while the whole world watched him grow up. He went from being a little boy to a man who is very experienced in public life. His story began a long time ago, on February 6, 1952. On that specific day, his mother, Queen Elizabeth II, became the queen. Charles was only 3 years old at the time. Imagine being that tiny and instantly becoming the next person in line to be the king. While most children his age were just learning how to read books and play with their friends, he had already stepped into a role that would last his whole life. This role was shaped by duty, old traditions, and a lot of responsibility. This record-breaking weight made him different from any of the kings who came before him. Before Charles, the person who waited the longest was his great-great-grandfather, King Edward VII. Edward had waited for 59 years and 73 days before he finally became king in 1901. But even that seems like a short time when you compare it to the many decades Charles spent preparing. His wait was not just about counting the days. It was about being strong, being patient, and learning how to change as the world around him became very different. What makes the story of Charles even more interesting is that he did not just sit around and do nothing while he was waiting. He worked very consistently and very quietly. Sometimes his work was very intense. Especially when his mother got older, he took on a very big share of the royal duties. Between the years 2002 and 2022, he carried out more than 10,900 official jobs. These were not just appearances where he showed up and waved. They were meaningful responsibilities that required him to be there, to be a good diplomat, and to pay close attention to every little detail. He represented the royal family on the world stage. He went to major international events, and he attended the funerals of important world leaders. He was the leader of many important ceremonies, and he honored many people with special awards. He also played a big part in preserving history by working with the Royal Collection Trust. In many ways, he was acting like a king long before he officially got the title. Beyond his formal jobs, Charles built a legacy that went far beyond the castle walls. He showed that he really cares about people, especially young people who are just starting out in life. He created something called the Prince's Trust. This group has opened doors for so many young individuals. It helps them learn new skills, gain more confidence, and find opportunities to build a better future for themselves. This one project alone has changed thousands of lives. It offers hope to people who might feel like they have no chance to succeed. His charity work was about much more than just giving money to people. Through his many charities and by supporting more than 800 different organizations, he worked in many parts of life. He helped with education, healthcare, making communities grow, and supporting the arts. He was never a person who just watched from far away. Instead, he stayed very involved. He used his voice to speak up for things he believed in, and he pushed for real change in causes that he cared about deeply. One of the most amazing parts of his life was how early he started worrying about the environment. Long before climate change was something that everyone talked about, Charles was already speaking up about it. He was encouraging people to take action to save the planet. He supported organic farming, which means growing food without using bad chemicals. He talked about living a greener life and protecting nature. Even when many people did not agree with him or thought his ideas were strange, he stayed steady. He showed a lot of courage and patience. He had a very clear vision for the future of our Earth. He inspired people all over the world to think differently and to take responsibility for protecting the planet for the children of the future. His many years as the heir to the throne shaped him into a leader who understands both the old ways and the new ways. He saw how society and politics changed over the years, and he learned how to navigate those changes while staying true to the values of the monarchy. By the time he finally became king, he was not stepping into something unknown. He was stepping into a role that he had been practicing for his entire life. The story of King Charles III is not just about waiting. It is about using your time wisely. It is about turning years of waiting into years of having a purpose. His life is a powerful reminder that being prepared and being committed can help you build a great legacy long before the world officially recognizes you. Now let's talk about what made King Charles burst into tears. Where did it happen and when did it take place? Let's look at the details of the moment that made the king feel so emotional. There are moments in life that stay with you forever in a very quiet way. For King Charles, one of those moments reportedly happened not during a big ceremony, but during a very personal time. It happened when he heard his son, William, speaking about the future. This story goes back to a documentary that was on TV in 2019. In that movie, a young Prince William was visiting a farmer on a big piece of land called the Duchy of Cornwall. At that time, William was already getting ready for a job he would have one day. He will eventually manage that big estate, which has been under the care of his father for a very long time. The conversation William had with the farmer was very simple and calm, but it had a big meaning. As William walked across the fields with the farmer, he listened to the quiet sounds of the country. He began to think about responsibility and family duty. He talked about what it really means to inherit something that is full of history and big expectations. Every step he took seemed to make his thoughts go deeper. He wasn't talking like someone who was daydreaming. Instead, his words and even his silence showed that he was very aware of the future. He was starting to understand the role he would one day have to fulfill. He talked about how important it is to understand the land and the people who work on it. He spoke about keeping old traditions alive while also changing things to fit what people need today. William also admitted that he had already started thinking about the role he would play in the future. There was a quiet seriousness in his voice. It felt like he was already carrying part of the responsibility even though it wasn't his job yet. For most people watching the show, it was just a nice moment. But for King Charles, watching his son speak that way made him feel very emotional. Behind closed doors, Charles later said that the scene affected him much more than he expected. As he watched William calmly talk about the future of the farm, something inside Charles shifted. It wasn't just being proud of his son for being mature. It was also the feeling that time was moving forward, whether he was ready or not. For more than 50 years, Charles had been the one managing that land. He had put all of his energy into making it better. He supported the people living there and worked to make it a place that would last for the next generation. It wasn't just a job to him, it was a lifelong mission. He spent decades building systems and making sure the land was in good condition to be handed down. So when he saw William speaking with so much care and seriousness about taking over one day, it hit him in a very personal way. It was like seeing the result of all his hard work finally come to life in his son. Charles admitted that this moment made him cry. It wasn't because he was sad or in pain. It was because he felt an overwhelming release of emotion. He felt like his life's work was truly meaningful. He felt validated because his son really understood what he had been trying to do. Even more than that, it was a father seeing his son grow into a responsible man. It was like a quiet passing of a torch. It didn't happen with a big ceremony. It happened through understanding and having the same goal. For Charles, the emotion came from realizing that being a leader is not just about having power. It is about preparing someone else to carry that power forward with respect and care. In William's words, Charles saw his own hard work reflected back at him. That is why he described it as such an emotional time. Hearing William speak reminded him that the future he had worked for was not far away anymore. It was already starting to happen because of his son. In that moment, King Charles found a lot of comfort. He knew that what he built would keep going, and that it was understood by the person who would one day carry it on. How did King Charles give his responsibilities to Prince William? Was it a sudden move or a slow process? Let's look at the details of how they are steadily preparing for a new era in the royal family. There is no rush and there is no drama. There is more and more talk that the king is quietly getting ready to give power to his heir, Prince William. But this does not mean he is going to quit right now. Instead, reports say that behind the closed doors of the palace, people are slowly starting to plan for a smooth handover. They want to make sure that whenever the moment comes, everything is ready. These conversations show a very careful and thoughtful way of looking at the future. Rather than making big, sudden changes or having public arguments, the focus is on keeping things stable and orderly. People who know about royal business say the atmosphere is one where continuity is the most important thing. Continuity means that things keep going in a steady way no matter what happens. They want to make sure the monarchy stays steady for everyone. At the center of all these plans is the fact that Prince William's role is growing every single day. He's being given more jobs to do than he had before. He is taking part in important meetings, and he is helping make big decisions that will guide the future of the palace. This increase in his work is not happening all at once. It is carefully planned so that he can learn and adapt one step at a time. Over time, this involvement is seen as a natural way to get him ready to be the leader. It helps him gain experience and confidence without feeling too much pressure. It shows that they have a very good long-term plan. This slow increase in responsibility also does something else that is very important. It helps the public get used to seeing William as the future king. It lets people see how he handles things and what his values are. It lets them see his leadership style in real-life situations. In this way, the change is not rushed. It is built step by step, which creates a feeling of trust. The reports also mention that people are worried about the king's health and how hard his job is. While there has been no official news about when things will change, these worries have led to more talks about the future. Even so, the people inside the palace say the king is very focused on making sure the royal family stays strong and united. Because of this, any planning they are doing is very quiet and respectful of old traditions. It is not about quitting suddenly. It is about making sure the royal family is never caught off guard or unprepared. This kind of forward thinking is part of protecting the monarchy from any kind of trouble. The most important thing to know is that this transition is not being forced. It is seen as a slow and managed process. Duties are being shared and adjusted as time goes by. It is thought that the king prefers to make things easier in stages rather than making a fast exit. This allows his wisdom to be passed down naturally. This approach gives William the chance to grow into his future role. With every new job he gets, he gains more experience and more people see him. He starts to understand more deeply what it takes to be a leader. At the same time, it makes sure the royal family stays respected and consistent in the eyes of the people. This gradual method also helps to stop people from feeling uncertain or worried. When a change in leadership is prepared so carefully, there is less confusion. The public can adjust slowly, and the royal family can keep doing its work without any interruptions. In many ways, this careful preparation is a way to protect the trust that people have in the crown. In a big sense, these changes are not unusual. Systems that are built on tradition often rely on steady changes rather than sudden shifts. The goal is always to keep things going, maintain public confidence, and make sure every generation is ready to take on responsibility when the time comes. Over the last few years, William has been seen much more in both national and international events. These jobs help him build his experience and make him a stronger leader. Meanwhile, King Charles keeps working on the things he has always loved, like the environment and charity work. He is also working on making royal life fit better in the modern world. Many people think this quiet and gradual preparation is meant to keep the monarchy stable even when things are uncertain. It allows both the father and the son to work together in harmony. Each of them helps the royal family stay strong in their own way. The process is slow, and it is done on purpose. It is carefully designed for the future to make sure the nation stays peaceful and steady. Does Prince William seem like he is ready to take over the leadership of the royal family from his father? How long has he been getting ready for this big job? Let's look at the details of how William is growing into his future as the king. Prince William, who is the Prince of Wales, is now seen by many experts as someone who is very prepared. This does not mean the job will be easy or that he knows everything already. Instead, it means that for many years he has been slowly shaped and trained. He has been trusted with more and more responsibility so that one day he can step into the job with confidence. Unlike a change that happens overnight, William's journey has been very gradual. Even when he was a young boy, he knew his life would be very different from other people's lives. But lately, the reality of being the king has become much more real for him. As King Charles has taken on his duties, he has naturally passed some of those duties to William. This has allowed William to grow not just in his title but in real-life experience. Today, he is seen on the world stage more than ever before. He represents the royal family at important events and he meets with leaders from many different countries. He supports big charities and he talks about things that are important to the whole world. These are not just easy tasks. They require him to think carefully and stay calm. They require a strong sense of duty. Over time, William has shown that he can handle these pressures without getting upset. He stays focused. Experts often say that this long period of getting ready is done on purpose. The royal family usually does not rush these kinds of changes. Instead, they build up experience piece by piece. William has been given more to do in stages. This lets him learn how to handle what people expect from him. He learns how to deal with the media and how to handle tricky diplomatic situations. Each stage has helped him become more capable. Another important thing people talk about is how he leads. William is often described as someone who respects the old ways, but also knows that things need to change sometimes. He is not trying to break away from history. Instead, he seems to be trying to make the royal family more connected to modern life. He wants to be more open and relatable. He wants people to feel like they can understand him. He is aware of the challenges that normal people face every day. This balance between tradition and modern thinking is one of his best qualities. It suggests that when he becomes king, he will lead in a way that keeps the dignity of the crown but also makes it feel more accessible to everyone. But being ready is not just about doing jobs or being a leader. It is also about your mindset or how you think. People who watch him closely say that William has already accepted that he will be king one day. He knows it is not just a fancy title. It is a lifelong responsibility that comes with constant pressure and people watching him all the time. Even when he has a very busy schedule or has to go to serious events, he stays calm and steady. This emotional balance is very important. A king needs to have more than just knowledge. He needs to be stable when things get tough. In many ways, William is no longer seen as just someone who is waiting. He is seen as an active leader who is currently in training. Every speech he gives and every visit he makes is part of a bigger process. It is all shaping him for the future. As time goes on, his role will likely get even bigger. And while we don't know exactly when he will become king, it is very clear that he is moving closer to that goal every single day. Does the public believe that Prince William can be a good king? What do people see him doing that makes them trust him? Let's find out about what people think. When you listen to experts and people talking, you can notice a shift in how they see the future of Prince William. Many people now feel a sense of confidence. They are optimistic, which means they hope for good things. They think he is as ready as he will ever be. That is a simple phrase, but it has a very deep meaning. He has spent his whole life getting ready. He has been shaped by his duty and trained for a job that very few people can truly understand. This confidence didn't just happen one day. It was built slowly over many years of service. He has moved from just being the heir to being a very active and central person in the country. His public duties are much more than just showing up at parties. He is often involved in big events and global projects. He works on things like mental health, protecting the environment, and helping communities grow. Each of these jobs has helped people see him as a future king who is learning while he works. He is already carrying a lot of weight on his shoulders. Experts often say that this steady rise in his work has changed how people see him. Instead of being someone who stays in the background, William is seen as someone who is practicing leadership right now. His calm way of acting and the way he talks carefully have helped build trust. People think the royal family needs someone stable during hard times. Most people seem to accept that he will be the king one day. Many see him as a person who balances the old and the new. He respects the long history of the monarchy, but he is also open to making small changes. He knows the royal family must stay relevant in a world that is moving very fast. This ability to stand between the old ways and the new ways is why people call him a steady hand for the future. There is also a growing belief that William understands the feelings of the people. He isn't just a formal leader. He tries to connect with people in a personal way. His public appearances often feel more grounded and less formal than the ones from older royals. This has helped many people feel that he is approachable. They feel like he knows what real-life worries are like. Still, even though people are confident, they are also a little bit cautious. The phrase, "as ready as he'll ever be," is a reminder that no one can be 100% prepared to be king until it actually happens. The role comes with huge pressure and things you can't predict. It is a job that is shaped by events that no one can plan for, so the public view of William is both hopeful and realistic. People admire how far he has come and they believe he can lead. But they also know that being a king is a job like no other. It is this mix of confidence and being humble that defines how people see his path to the throne. Are there any doubts about William's ability to be the king? What concerns have people raised so far? Let's find out. There's a growing wave of worry among some people who watch the royal family. They are thinking about what the future will look like when William is finally in charge. While many see him as a modern and thoughtful leader, others are afraid that his ideas for change might not be totally good in the long run. William has said many times that he wants a royal family that feels more relevant. He wants it to fit better in today's world. He thinks the institution should evolve, which means it should change over time. He doesn't want to hold on to every single old tradition just because it has always been there. To some people, this is a great idea. They think it's necessary to keep the monarchy alive for young people who live in a very different world. They think he is doing a good thing. However, not everyone is convinced. Some experts worry that if he changes too much or too fast, he might weaken the foundation of the royal family. They think tradition is not just about old habits. They think it is about stability and knowing who you are. If those things are changed too much, the royal family might lose its special place in the country. One of the biggest worries is William's focus on his family and his privacy. Unlike older royals who were always in the public eye, William wants to protect his children. He wants to have a more private home life. Many people admire him for being a great dad, but some critics worry that if he isn't seen in public enough, the bond between the king and the people will get weaker. For many years, Queen Elizabeth II was seen all the time, and that helped people feel connected to her. Some fear that if William steps away too much, people will stop caring about the royal family as much. There's also talk that William might prefer a more flexible way of working. He might want to balance his duties rather than being busy all the time. Critics say this might make the monarchy feel less dependable. Another point people talk about is how he communicates. William is more open and informal. This makes him easy to talk to, but some experts think it might cause tension inside the palace. If he has a different vision than his father, King Charles, they might not agree. Differences in how the royal family should change are not always easy to handle behind closed doors. Also, there is a big debate about how far the modernization should go. People who like change say they must adapt or they will become outdated. But critics warn that too much change could make the whole thing feel less powerful. Overall, William's approach is seen as both hopeful and uncertain. It shows he is a caring and modern leader, but it also raises big questions about balance. He has to figure out how to be modern without losing history. He has to figure out how to stay private without becoming distant. And he has to figure out how to change without making the institution weak. So, what do you think about the king's decision to slowly give power to William? Do you think William is truly ready for the job? We really want to hear your opinions in the comments. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more royal news. Inside the palace, everyone is watching very closely. They are watching every move the king makes and every word William says. This transition is like a giant puzzle with many pieces. There is the piece about the king's health, which makes everyone a bit nervous. There is the piece about William's young family and how he wants to raise them. And there is the piece about the whole country and what they expect from their leaders. It is a very complicated time for the royal family. They have to deal with these big changes while also dealing with the same things every family deals with, like getting older and staying healthy. The fact that the king got so emotional watching his son shows that they are a real family with real feelings. It reminds us that behind all the fancy clothes and the big titles, they are just people trying to do their best. They are trying to look after each other while also looking after a whole nation. That is a very big job for anyone to have. As the days go by, we will see more signs of how this handover is going. We will see William taking on more important tasks, and we will see the king focusing on the things he cares about most. It is a time of change, but it is also a time of hope. Most people want the royal family to succeed. They want to feel like they have a leader they can trust. William has worked very hard to be that person. He has shown that he is serious and that he cares. Whether he can find the right balance between the old and the new is something we will find out in the future. But for now, he is doing everything he can to be ready. He is learning from his father and he is building his own path. It is an interesting time to be watching the news. We are seeing history happen right before our eyes. And no matter what happens, the story of King Charles and Prince William will be a very important part of that history. So as we look at the giant castle one last time, remember that things are changing inside. The old ways are meeting the new ways. A father is helping his son get ready for the biggest job in the world, and a son is showing his father that he is ready to carry on the family legacy. It is a story of love and duty. It is a story of patience and preparation. And it is a story that we are all a part of as we watch and wait to see what happens next. Thank you for joining us today as we looked at this royal story. We hope you learned something new and that you enjoyed hearing about King Charles and Prince William. Remember, your thoughts are very important to us, so please share them in the comments. We look forward to seeing you in our next video. Stay tuned for more royal secrets and stories. There's always something new happening in the world of the royal family, and we will be here to tell you all about it. Have a great day, and we will see you soon. Think about how you would feel if you had to wait 70 years to start your main career. That is a very long time. Charles had to be very patient. He had to find ways to be useful while he waited. He showed that you can make a difference even if you are not the boss yet. That is a good lesson for everyone. And William is showing that it's okay to want to do things a little bit differently than your parents did. It's okay to want to be modern, but he also knows that he has to be respectful. It's all about finding that middle ground. That is what makes a good leader. As we continue to follow this story, we will see if William can stay on that middle ground. We will see if he can keep the public's trust while making the changes he thinks are necessary. It won't be easy, but he has had the best training in the world. He has had 40 years of watching his father and grandmother. He has seen the good times and the bad times. He knows what it takes to survive. And that experience will be his greatest strength when his time finally comes. So stay curious and keep watching. The royal family is full of surprises. Just when you think you know what is going to happen, something new comes along. Like the king crying on TV, no one saw that coming. It reminds us that we never truly know what is going on behind closed doors. But we can look at the signs and try to understand. We can listen to the experts and form our own opinions. And that is what makes following the royals so much fun. It's like a real-life soap opera, but with much higher stakes. It's about the future of a whole country. And that is why we will keep bringing you these stories. We want to help you understand the big picture and the tiny details. So one more time, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. We have a lot more to talk about and you won't want to miss a thing. See you in the next video. Imagine the conversation between Charles and William when they are alone in the palace. What do they talk about? Do they talk about the farm? Do they talk about the future of the country? Or do they just talk like a regular dad and son? It's nice to think that they have those quiet moments away from the cameras. Those moments are probably what keeps them going when things get tough. Knowing that they have each other's support is very important. Even if they have disagreements, they are still family. And in the end, that is what matters most. The royal family has faced many challenges over hundreds of years, but they have always stayed together. They have always found a way to move forward, and this time will be no different. They will find a way through the rift and the tears. They will find a way to make the transition work, and the monarchy will keep going just as it always has. Thanks for being here and being part of our community. We really appreciate your support and your interest in these stories. Until next time, take care. The world is a very big and often confusing place, but stories like this one help us feel a bit more connected. We see that even the most powerful people have the same kinds of feelings and problems that we do. We see that family is important to everyone, and we see that change is a natural part of life. As we watch King Charles and Prince William navigate this big change, we can learn a lot about how to handle our own lives. We can learn about being patient, being prepared, and being brave enough to change when the time is right. So, as you go about your day, think about the story of the king and the prince. Think about the long wait and the emotional realization. And remember that everyone is on their own journey just like they are. We will see you very soon with another update. Goodbye for now.